Sick.
That was fucking awesome.
That's so good.
That's your best throw ever.
That was a perfect flight. Hey guys, it's JV Disc Golf. We're back with another review. If you haven't already, check out our last review of Keeney Park. But we're here in Manchester, Connecticut at a beautiful little park called Center Springs. This is an 18-hole course, but it's got two 9-hole layouts that are laid on top of each other. The two layouts differ with varying tee pads and varying baskets. What they've done with the land is pretty great. They've created two unique layouts that give you a variety of shots, a fun, unique mix of holes. They are quite challenging. There's not a lot of easy birdies to get out here, which makes it a lot of fun. Not super tight woods like a lot of other New England disc golf courses, so it gives you a nice spread, and it's just a gorgeous day here. So we're gonna get out and check out this course. All right, first hole here, 1A, 337-foot par 3, one of the more challenging holes. You'll see it's through this open field, but then into a tight forest. It finishes steep uphill, so not a lot of ways to get to the hole. You kind of want to just go straight at the trees at this point in the summer and try and sort of hyzer through it and finish as far up the hill as you can. A 2 is a bonus here for sure. So you just kind of want to scorch one right through the trees. That's probably my best ever. So as we're approaching the first green, you can kind of see there's this marsh area over to the right, which is unpleasant. I'm not sure if it plays OB or not, but definitely an area you don't want to be. Left side is got some vegetation. That's somewhat of a fairway in like the fall and winter months. You can kind of throw something turnover through here. The route I took was right through these trees. That to me is the best play to sort of get up the hill. But you can see it is very steep and it doesn't make it easy. Even if you do get to where I got to send one. A lot of rollaways on this green. It can be very challenging. So I've got maybe a 40-footer straight uphill, and I consider that a real success. I can actually run this, but at my own peril here. Anything that hits the basket is going to be a bogey likely. Yeah, at least they didn't roll away. Wasn't meant to be. All right, 2A, 364-foot par 3. It is a tight shot off the tee box, opens up a little bit into the fairway, and then signature of this course, you're always going to have a bunch of trees to beat throughout the hole. It looks a little bit closer than it is, in my opinion. It is downhill all the way, and the slope is right to left the whole way. So I'll throw something a little understable to sort of fight that hill. And try and keep it going straight towards the basket and not hyzering out, because if you hyzer out a lot on this hole, you're going to end up close to that drop off. Yeah, that'll work. Got a downhill putt. So they've done a really good job at this park. Creating 18 holes or two 9 holes that are on top of each other. The layouts have a nice variety with their shots. It's either a different basket or a different tee pad on every hole. You have on the second 9, the B9, you have some longer holes. But you know, being in a park course with a limited amount of space, they've done a really good job of giving you a variety of shots that make it feel like a unique 9, whether you're playing A or B. So it is a fun course. It doesn't have the crazy tight wooded shots of your other New England wooded courses, but it doesn't have like none of the holes are really easy 2s here. So still very challenging, and it's a beautiful park. Really nice to come out here and play. Nice birdie. 3A is a 216-foot par 3. One of the easier holes on the course. It's just a short hyzer, but obviously there's a lot of traffic here off the tee and through the fairway. I try and hit this right side gap and finish towards the hole. The risk that I take is a big skip. I throw a faster disc just to make sure I hit this gap. You can certainly get here with a putter or a mid-range. No. Counter skip. God, that's so far away. .4A is a 385-foot par 3. This is where the course starts to get a little bit more challenging. There are two plays here in my mind. I think the best option is probably straight up the middle through this tighter gap and try and go right at the pin. The safer play is to play out wide and either do a little flex or a hyzer that kind of gets you at least further before you encounter any traffic. Another very, very difficult two, I think it would require a throw-in or just an absolute bomb. Never mind. That's a great shot though. Right under. So you can see where I landed. I would consider this a great drive, and I'm still 80, 100 feet away from the pin. I mean, there's not much else you can do, and trying to throw it in from back where I am is very risky based on this hill and the plants that are behind and the squirrels that are trying to attack you. So, you know, it's a great 3. And then you can see beyond, we're playing the same tee box when we come back around to 4B. The pin is way down there. So it is a par 4, but again, it's very difficult to score on either of these holes. Really what you're playing for is a solid par, both 4s. 5A is a 412-foot par 3. We've come all the way up the hill. We're on the other side of the park now. It is one of the cooler holes, one of my favorite holes at this course. It is a steep left to right slope now. What I throw is something that's a little bit flippy. I just try and throw it flat, let the disc do the work of going down the hill and finish up towards the pin. This is a great get, definitely one that you can reach with the hill and the slope to help you get there, but there is some danger behind the pin as well. I didn't get any flip. That was a baby ass shot. So you can see one of the most challenging parts of this hole is just how steep this green is. I was playing from above the pin, which is not ideal. I mean, I got an okay amount of distance, but playing above the pin makes it very difficult and very easy to roll very far away. So I played something really soft, can't really run it. Sometimes this like wash away area is an okay place to land if you are playing from above the pin, because then you might stay somewhat close. But ideally what you want is your tee shot to be in this dirt area so you're playing back up towards it. 6A, 271-foot downhill par 3. This is a fun straight shot. The hill slightly slopes from left to right, but downhill the whole way. You can throw a putter mid-range. Something faster is a little bit riskier just because you're either going to get a big skip or you're going to hyzer out away from it. So really I'll throw a mid-range and just try and go straight at it the whole way. There's plenty of room on this fairway, but when you're actually throwing the tee shot, it tends to get tight on you pretty quick. Did I hit you? Now we're headed back up the hill. 7A is a 268-foot par 3. My typical play is a very high angle hyzer along the right side. You have some low hanging branches immediately. As long as you play under those, but still give the disc enough elevation since this hole plays uphill. The other way is a strong power forehand, kind of up the middle, that'll hyzer towards the basket, or a big turnover will work as well, but a much higher degree of difficulty on that shot. Boo! The 8th hole is a 403-foot par 3. One of the most challenging holes on this course, the 8A and 8B layouts. What you're trying to do is have it drift right and then finish left, but you know, it's a pretty steep downhill, so it's easy for the disc to turn over and just continue down towards that lake and play the hill. The road plays OB, so if you end up turning it over, you're at risk there. But you can see if you don't get the turn right, you're going straight into what is a thick set of forest. And the green is pretty well protected with the ditch in front and the trees around it. Not much turn. It gets all the way to the ditch. That's all you can ask for. This is another great hole. I love it. You have this open area. I mean, it's one of the wider fairways, but at the same time, it requires one of the most specific shots that you have to throw, because you have to get it turning right as it opens up through this large gap. You can't play it too high because you got a lot of branches that are hanging down low. So you've got to get the height right. You've got to get the turn right. You got to get your stability right as a caddy. And you've got to start your turn back towards the basket as you're going through this gap. Now, as you get beyond it, you see there's not a ton of space. So you're pushing through this gap, trying to hit the next one, which is even smaller. Getting up the upslope of the green is a pretty big ask, and that's a great shot. If you're able to get beyond the second layer of guardians, then you have somewhat of a clean up shot, which will help you make a great 3 on what is a challenging hole. So I ended up in this sort of retention area, this big ditch. This is a great spot to be because you're past this back row of trees and you only have a smattering of trees to deal with. Makes for an easy approach. I can even run this since the green isn't too dramatic of a slope. I'm on the upslope, so I'm past these guys right behind me, which makes it somewhat of an easy up and down from here. Nine A is one of the signature holes on this course. It's a 530-foot par 3, huge downhill, water left side. You got the marsh from the first hole over on the right side. It takes an absolute bomb. Your average arm, I mean, it takes a big time poke to get across this walkway. The big tricky thing about this hole is the wind here is very difficult to read. I'm getting a big headwind here. It's hard to tell what's happening out there in the open. I'm gonna throw something that kind of flips over and try and avoid hyzering out into the water. Sick.
That was fucking awesome.
That's so good.
That's your best throw ever.
That was a perfect flight. So that was probably one of my better drives here on 9A. It's difficult to get across that road. Trying to play the perfect flip up and have it kind of glide is tricky. I've put plenty in the lake over here. I've turned over a bunch going right side. The big issue is though, even if you bomb one like I just did, it's still maybe a 50-foot putt uphill. So, you know, it's not always worth trying to get the massive power, the 500-foot downhill shot, because there's really not a ton in your way other than a couple of trees guarding the green. Even if you put it right here into the middle of this field, you're probably still ending up with a 3. Now, obviously, it makes it a lot easier. I get to run it, and I guarantee probably a par at worst. So, and also this field does flood a little bit, so not as fun to play from here. So clearly I'm not 50 away. This is probably more just outside the circle, maybe 35, 40 feet. Definitely runnable. You got some roots behind the basket that could upend the disc, but it's a pretty safe, easy bid here. And wide right. Yeah. So we're through the front 9, played it about 3 under. We're here, we're headed to the back 9 or the B9. A very similar shot to 1A. It's just a shorter shot. It's a 303-foot par 3. Just a shorter tee pad, but the same basket. So you've got that same steep uphill green. Again, not much of a fairway. There's more of a left side gap here, but I'll probably play the same shot, just straight at it and hope for the best. Flip. That's fine. I'm gonna play one more. Go in the hole. That's a great shot. (2A) is a 346-foot par 3. Same tee pad as 2A, but this time you're finishing hard left onto what ends up being a sort of island green, not because there's OB around it, but because it's elevated around the surrounding area. There are ditches and a hill behind it. So what you want to do is sort of throw one straight as if you're going to 2A, but more stability, have it finish hard left and see if you can hit that island green. I got a little bit of strange footing here, but you can see how this island kind of shapes up with the logs around it. Obviously a very scary putt to run, but I'm in a great spot to lay up. Just kind of float one next to the basket here. As long as it doesn't roll, which it doesn't, so we're good. Go in. Oh God, see ya. That's the danger. 3B is a 386-foot par 3. One of the more challenging tee shots on the course. It's a very narrow gap uphill off the tee. You want to get up and over the hill with as much distance as you can. I throw something understable so that it's not going to hyzer back down this hill to the left. And you just want to keep it pushing straight as close as you can. It's another very difficult 2. Probably requires a throw in unless you've got a really massive drive. Just want to be safe off the tee here. There. All right, 4B, this is where the course starts to really lengthen out the next couple of holes. It's a 671-foot par 4, one of 2 par 4s on the course. It is the same tee shot as 4A, but it's quite a bit longer. The road plays OB. They've kind of island off the green until you get to the path. That's probably about 500 feet away. So you've got to kind of be careful not to try and shoot it too far right. Play a similar shot to 4A's tee shot, and then it's another big bomb shot to try and get to the green on the second. So I'm in a decent spot here. Obviously I would love to be past this tree, but what I'm going to do is play a force over. I don't want to cross land on the right side of the path because that's out of bounds. So I need to play something that's going to get me max distance but still finish on the left side hill because I can't reach the green from where I'm at just yet. Nice safe play. So you can see where I landed is kind of the safe landing zone. If you have a huge arm, you can see kind of where the V of the path is created to start the inbounds island green. I probably could have reached that if I really pushed it. If you have a bigger arm, You know, maybe it's something you can get to try and give yourself more of a birdie look. But here, this is an easy play, a safe play. I don't want to make anything worse than a 4 here, so I kind of like where I'm at. Oh, but a tough upshot. 5B is a 640-foot par 4. There's a safer play if you go straight towards the big gap in the middle, or you can kind of go up the narrow fairway that plays up the hill slightly, that is directly at the pin. We're playing the same basket as 5A, so you have that very fast green to work with. But if you can kind of crush something through the narrow fairway on your first shot and then play maybe a fairway driver, another driver up into the green, this is definitely a scoreable hole. Probably one of the more gettable birdies on the course. No flip. Oh, God damn it. "6B is a 424-foot par 3, a pretty similar shot to 6A, but it is longer and it requires a fade on your finish. You can kind of skip into this basket. It is a gettable 2, but it is a difficult shot. You got to put something kind of either straight down this tunnel, or you can play somewhat of a turnover forehand that'll kind of go through a more open area. It's just hitting that first gap. So whichever way you choose, it takes a really good shot to get down there. Oh, that was interesting. "7B is a 325-foot shot, par 3, straight uphill. Take something understable, kind of flip up flat and not fade down with this right to left slope. It's a good ways up there. Takes a rip to get to it, but if you can put a good move on it, this can be a 2. Not bad. Oh. Hole 8B is one of the most challenging on the course. It's a 464-foot par 3. It slopes left to right, and it plays to an island green. You have to get something to fade down the hill, turn up late. You can't really go for the green on the drive. I mean, that would just be an incredible shot to get a 2 here. So you're just looking to hit that hill on the right side and give yourself something clean to the island. Oh yeah. So I'm just across from the island here. The logs start the inbounds. You'll see them once you get to the green. They're all kind of around here. So I could take sort of a risky run, or I could be happy with my 3 and just lay this up. Kind of a half bid that is sitting down nicely. 9B, the final hole here. It's a 425-foot par 3, another kind of signature hole. You're playing over this lake into the same basket as 9A, so slightly uphill, but more reachable than 9A. So if you really put a good move on this one, you can get up to the basket and get a 2 here, but it takes a pretty big shot. Water doesn't necessarily come into play unless you kind of hyzer one out or fluff one. Big skip off the path. Not too bad. All right, so that wraps up our round here at Center Springs. It's maybe not the best course in the area, but it is a great course. It's beautiful. It's got some really fun lines. It doesn't have 18 dedicated holes, but the two layouts are unique enough that it feels like a full 18 when you're playing it. Overall, a great course to come play. We're maybe 5 to 10 minutes from Wickham Park, so if you're gonna play a couple rounds when you're in Manchester, Connecticut, this is definitely one that you can come check out. A lot of fun, easy, quick 9 if you just wanna play one set of 9. Look for more videos. We'll keep going around Connecticut.